So you play Royal Albert Hall tonight?
That's right, yeah.
You played here before?
No, this is our first time.
How does it feel?
Well, it's great. I mean, it's a bit of an achievement to be here. You know, it's a prestige venue. I've been here as a punter, if you like, over the years, and it's kind of it's one of the nicest places, the nicest things you can, nicest venue, very atmospheric, you know, it's historic part of London. We're all really looking forward to it.
You still get a bit of a buzz after all this time in your career?
Yeah, well, I think this is kind of unique. You know, being here is kind of a unique experience for us, you know, first time. So, yeah, it's kind of meaningful.
So what can we expect from the show tonight?
Well, tonight is it's a complete evening of Porcupine Tree. There's no support. So we're going to do some really old stuff that we don't play very often. And we're going to do some stuff, you know, that's current for the people that, you know, we're going to try and please everybody,
yeah.
Which will probably go wrong, but there's some old, some new. It's going to be, you know, a much longer show than normal, a much longer set.
How long are you going to play for?
Well, all told, it's kind of about a 3-hour mark. So
wow.
Yeah.
What bass are you playing tonight?
Well, actually, I'm going to play 3 or 4. I'm going to play an upright bass, which I don't do very often. I'm going to play my 2 wall basses and my 2 Spectre basses.
Now, your last album, The Incident,
yeah,
it seemed to have given you some sort of mass recognition that you didn't get until now. You've been around for a while. Did you expect it at this point in your career?
I think it happened actually from what my feeling was that was the previous album, Fear of a Blank Planet, started to pick up a lot of people, and this has actually been a continuation of that. So it's definitely been bigger, The Incident, than Fear of a Blank Planet. We've toured for a lot longer than we normally do. We've gone to lots of places we've never been to before, like India, and places in Europe that we don't go to so much, or we haven't been to before. You know, Portugal, Spain, Slovenia, all these kind of places. So we've kind of covered a lot of miles and a lot of ground, and that's because there's been a demand from people to see us. So.
How was the response in India? I'm quite curious to hear.
It was pretty amazing. Yeah, we did it was like a big amphitheatre, open air amphitheatre, and they told us there was a sort of 4,000 capacity, but I mean, it was probably completely unsafe. I'm sure there were thousands of people there, more, you know, and people as well beyond the outskirts that couldn't get in as well, who were listening as well. So it was incredible, you know, the crowd, the energy in the crowd, and the response we got from somewhere we've never been to before, and somewhere that isn't kind of on your typical sort of circuit for touring, was really amazing.
Are you going back to Asia then?
I hope so. Yeah. You know, it's not a case of whether we want to go somewhere or not. Sometimes, you know, sometimes it just doesn't work, you know, kind of financially or logistically, or there's all sorts of reasons why we might not go somewhere. But we were really happy to go there for sure. You know, I mean, it was none of us knew what to expect, and it was great. And same for a lot of other places like Mexico as well. You know, we haven't really been to before.
You've been successful quite early in Italy.
That's right. Yeah.
Can you understand why?
I can remember. I mean, this is going back a long time, but I remember we were playing sort of 300 capacity venues, really small clubs in England. You know, 3 to 500 sort of small rooms. And we did our first show in Rome to like a 1,500 seat theatre. And I can remember thinking at the time, when we arrived there, it was going to be really embarrassing because I got used to these kind of small crowds, and then booked us into this enormous place. And actually the place was packed, you know, just packed with loads of people that were really passionate about the music. We'd never seen us before. And we went back to Rome and that part of Italy several times, and we always got the same response. And I think it was mainly due to the fact that there were some people there, there was a radio station there that very early on picked up on what we were doing and played the music. And I can remember the very first show we did, there were people running into the venue and not knowing what we looked like or anything about us at all. And every time the guy tuning the guitar goes up to do something on stage, he gets a huge cheer because they think he's one of the guys in the band, you know. So it was incredible. It was really nice to know. That kind of sustained us for a long time. Some of these countries where people got into the band very early on, where we were kind of struggling a bit in places like England and America and some of the European countries, you know, places like Poland, Greece, Italy, they've always been really good places for us. So we kind of feel quite good about going back there, you know, it's nice. We've got a bit of a history with some of the fans there.
So in Italy, let's say radio promotion helped a lot, and now it's completely changed. the way you promote a band.
Yeah.
Are you still using your old fame, or you actually go into the new ways of promoting?
Well, I think you have to kind of embrace things, otherwise you get left behind. So we've trying to kind of up our internet presence, which is, we know that a lot of people get into the band through, because we don't get a lot of mainstream press attention or television or radio, then a lot of people discover the band through recommendation. And it's been actually, I think, a really, really word of mouth thing for a long time. But I think perhaps what's happened with the way the internet's got a bit more prolific with everybody and everyone uses it in the last few years, and certainly going back 5 or 6 years, that people have this kind of idea where people can recommend. You know, it's sort of exponential on the internet. You know, instead of word of mouth of one person telling another person, it's kind of people forwarding links, and I think that's really helped us. I mean, it's a double-edged sword, because record sales for every band are way down, because they're just not. You know, there just isn't the volume of people buying records anymore, I don't think. You know.
Plus there's a bit of an oversaturation on the market.
Yeah, but at the same time, well, we wouldn't be going to places like India or you know, some of these other places we go to if it wasn't for the internet. So it's helped us in some ways. It's a bit difficult when people come up to you and say, "Oh, I downloaded your album," and you think, "Well, thanks." But you know, at the same time, you know, they've come to the show, you know, they're a fan. It's like you've got that person. So I'm kind of in two minds about it. But no, on the whole, it's a positive thing.
Back to the incident.
Yeah.
You turned a 35-minute song into a 55 and a normal album into a double album, which
Right.
is not something that everyone would get away with. Were you a bit worried before actually releasing it when you made this decision?
Well, we had a lot of discussion about how the final form of the record was going to go. The idea was to have, which was kind of in fitting with Steve's kind of concept, was to have the 55-minute piece, which is really interlinking songs rather than, I mean, it's meant to be in a way like a thematic thing, so you listen to it from beginning to end in the same way that you might watch a film or read a book. But once we'd done that, there was a lot of other material that we had that maybe didn't fit in the 55 minutes, but we felt was very strong. And when we did Fear of a Blank Planet, what happened was we had the same scenario. We had the album, we wanted to make a concise statement with the album, but we had this stuff left over that came out as an EP. And we were really disappointed, because the EP, we felt the material was really strong. And of course it didn't get the attention of the album, so a lot of people didn't even know it was out. So what we decided to do this time was have a double disc single. And the stuff that didn't fit, you know, the song cycle, if you like, the stuff that didn't fit that, we still felt it was strong and it deserved to be heard, and we didn't want to put it out on a single 6 months later and it kind of disappear, because people don't buy EPs and people don't buy singles. So we made it a double album. So there's a lot of music in there to hear, but I think, you know, I think it was the right decision.